All right, I want to welcome everyone to Hopcat Presents Local Spins Live at River City Studios here. Thank you all for being part of this special evening. And please welcome to the stage Big Dudee Roo. We've done more than a dozen of these intimate studio sessions over the last 2 years, and they are wonderful, intimate concerts and an opportunity for you folks to know a little bit more about some of these bands that are really making a splash on the West Michigan music scene. So we have in Big Dudee Roo, Max Lockwood, Justin Dory, Nate Wagner, and Dane Hammerly. Welcome once again. Some folks probably want to know how a band that started out as sort of this rootsy, folk-driven band out of Wayland, Michigan, ended up cranking up this psychedelic and atmospheric folk rock and grunge. Give us the short history, Max, of Big Dudee Roo.
Sure. Well, we started out, actually, me and Nate here started out playing in a kind of a pop punk band together in 8th grade. So me, Justin, and Nate graduated Wayland High School same year. So we grew up together. And so from there, we started playing the high school talent shows. And I think it was our junior year when Justin joined the band. And actually, Kurt Risley is our former drummer, and he's in attendance tonight. Thanks for being here, Kurt. And he came back as a older, former Wayland High School grad and played the high school talent shows those couple years. From there, we used to have a viola player, and Amanda Smith and my sister Aurora Lewis used to sing lead vocals along with me, and they phased out of the band eventually. And once Aurora left, it was kind of a decision of how are we going to move forward. This is going to inevitably change our sound. So we just made the conscious decision to sort of go back to some of our rock and roll roots. Growing up listening to a lot of like Neil Young, Pearl Jam, My Morning Jacket, things like that. And just decided to take it in that direction, and it felt pretty natural, so we just went with it.
It seems to sort of fit the current climate in West Michigan too, because a lot of psychedelic folk rock bands, like a psychedelic rock bands, are really in favor right now. For you guys, because you've been together since high school and even junior high, what's the impetus for Big Dudee Roo? What is it that drives this band forward?
That's a good question. Feel free to chime in if you guys want to. I'd say a lot of it is just that the deep connection that we have, kind of a strong brotherhood that we've always had, and that's really the core of it, and kind of a shared interest in the music that we're playing.
Mm-hmm. Feels great to play all the music that we're playing right now, and yeah, I would say that's the main driving factor for me. At least it's kind of the main outlet for me to be artistically expressive.
How about you, Nate? You're one of the songwriters in the band. It's a shared arrangement. I know Max writes a lot of lyrics, but you write some music too. How does that work in this band?
It's different for every song, really. Like, sometimes me or Max will come to the band with a song that's pretty much finished, but a lot of times lately it's we come with an idea and, the basic structure of the song figured out, and then from there we just jam on it and figure out what sounds cool, try a few things, and it usually comes together very naturally. That's what's really cool about it, is like very quickly, and I feel like we don't have to work very hard to just, stuff just comes together really well, and it's a pretty cool thing to be a part of.
So for each of you, I'm curious, especially you three guys in the front here, what if you had to name a band or an artist who you feel that Big Dudee Roo most resembles or that has most inspired you, what would that band or artist be for each of you?
And these guys will probably not agree so much with me, but I think we've always been kind of a Pink Floyd type band. Even the dynamic between me and Max, like, obviously we don't hate each other, like Roger Waters and David Gilmour might. But yeah, lead singer, bass player, songwriter, lead guitar. Nate's kind of the Rick Wright guy, I think, who writes brilliant songs, but also has a very unique factor that he brings. And then Dane is our heavy drummer.
Dane, you got any back there?
I'm just here to rock, so Dave Grohl's always been a huge influence on me. I like to play hard, and these guys are an awesome backdrop for me to get to do what I enjoy doing, and dynamically and sonically, and just being able to freeform jam during rehearsals is a big thing I've never been able to do before. So I think they just made me a more well-rounded player, period, and I'm having a great time doing it, you know. They're all great dudes and super professional when it comes to not only rehearsal but execution at gigs, and you know, having their head in the game. So
Dane is the newest member of Big Dudee Roo. So Max, how about you? Since you've come from a different sort of background, maybe?
Yeah, I guess I'm tempted to say Pearl Jam now that we've got Dane on board. I think there's some similarities to kind of like the sound Pearl Jam was getting, especially on the second record, Versus. I think in a lot of ways we're kind of moving in more of a direction like that. I mean, I'm no Eddie Vedder, so there's the comparison ends there. But other than that, like as far as the core of the band, I think there's some similarities there.
Sure.
For me, I think I'd say probably the band. We got, you know, those guys just worked so hard for so long and put out so much material. And especially for all these guys, like, they're doing nothing but playing music all the time and just killing it. And it shows, you know. And I think the band is a lot like that. So.
I know you guys have put out a couple of fairly critically acclaimed EPs over the last couple of years, including Duty Free and Heavy Duty. What's the overarching plan for Big Dudee Roo in terms of the next year and more recording, more touring? What do you envision?
Well, we've just been kind of planning that out. We're actually going in the studio in January to record some new stuff. We've got at least 5 new tunes we've been working on and are constantly writing. So we're still kind of fleshing out how we want to release stuff, but definitely plan on seeing some new releases in 2017. And we'll be hitting the whole festival circuit next summer, and you know, just keep getting the Big Dudee Roo thing out there.
That brings up another point. Max, you're a very in-demand musician, playing for the likes of Seth Bernard and May Erlewine and a lot of other bands and acts across Michigan. I know you've got some gigs coming up with May here in the next week. You did the John Prine tribute band shows recently. How do you juggle all of those different solo projects and collaborative projects with other musicians with what's happening with Big Dudee Roo?
Yeah, it's not always easy, but I mean, everyone that I work with is really understanding of that, like the collaborative nature of the music community we're in, and these guys especially are super understanding and supportive. We've all got different projects that we're working on, so it's kind of a scheduling nightmare sometimes, but it ebbs and flows, you know. Sometimes things slow down a little bit for one project, and then another project is able to sort of flourish for that time. So it's worked out so far. Hasn't been a problem.
All right, let's hear some Big Dudee Roo. We're going to have you play a few songs to kick things off. Here we go.
like candle lights lit under the surface at night. Are you hiding under there? My vision is so impaired, I can't read the expression on your face. Won't you throw me a bone? Something I can't hold on to, like a doorway that could hold my eyes in place. No, I won't ask any questions. You don't have to say a word. We'll unlock the cryptic answers forgotten at birth. Step off the highest stair, fall into the darkness gathered there. It's kind of like the water, swimming late that night, while I watched from the dock in the moonlight. Sinking deeper down, like bullets shot in the ground, will float like sweet vertigo and fly. You can ask me any questions, I'll answer all without a word. Meaning like buried seeds of birds from the earth you'll see.
Thank you guys. Thanks.
So talk about the subject matter of your songs a little bit as you introduce maybe those songs and the ones coming up.
Sure. Well, that last tune was called "I Know You Know," and that's from our, that's from our EP 2 EPs ago. That's called "Heavy Duty," and we decided to do a couple of sister EPs where we sort of poked a little fun at ourselves for our name. So, "Heavy Duty" and "Duty Free." That one was one I wrote. There's a version of that I put on a solo record I did. Very, very different sound. Big Duty Roo did the original version though, and that was kind of going through a period of loss and big transition in life in my early 20s. So I was kind of exploring some of like how those processes kind of cause you to have to put yourself back together in a new way and grow from it. And then that first tune was another one I wrote. It's called "Islands of Light," and that's a song I wrote when I was at a sort of nature-based writing and literature retreat in New Hampshire for like 7 weeks, and it kind of came out of the dreaminess of that experience of being in a community, working on those things really intensively, and sort of some relationship information in there too that sort of inspired some of those thoughts. Romance and being in the natural world, all that together, I guess. I don't know, Nate, do you want to say anything about the other tune?
Yeah, the second one we did was called "Nothing Good Today," which is a tune I wrote. It was the first track that I wrote and sang that we ever did. I had written a few songs on our previous album before that, or our full length, but yeah, just a sad song, I guess, which is my favorite type of song. You know, it can when I'm happy or if I'm sad, I prefer to listen to sad songs. So yeah, just a kind of a transformational period when I wrote that. It was several years ago now, but yeah, that's kind of just like a stream of whatever came out of me when I wrote that one, and I was like, all right, that's what it is. Had a little catchy lick and threw that in there and had a song.
I've always
Huggy Bear covers this song as well.
Right, Mark Lavengood, who's in the audience tonight. He's not here right now, actually, but he did do a great cover of the song. But Nate, I've always loved when you call that song a catchy little bummer.
What's next?
Next, we're gonna do a tune here called "Here in Our Hands." That's from the most recent EP, "Duty Free" too, and that was sort of inspired by I used to, and still am involved in a lot of environmental and social justice activism, sort of more through music these days. But this song was sort of inspired by during one of those sort of difficult periods of transformation, also. Taking time to sit back and work on myself and make sure that I was in a grounded place and that the actions that I was taking were coming from a good place. And at the same time, recognizing some of the gains that progressive movements in this country and this state have made, and local food is kind of a particularly inspiring one to this one. But yeah, I guess we'll let it speak for itself from there.
All right.
I just said a whole lot of things about it. Yeah, this one's called "Here in Our Hands."
in attune to the breeze that blows like a thought that wasn't my own. Walk these city streets down to the market where people stand shuffling around. How do we ever think we were gonna save the world if we couldn't even save ourselves? Hand to hand, passing food pulled from the land in ways that we can understand. There's always more work to be done, but this is work people are doing right now. All things have a season and don't need a reason, so I don't mind laying low till the weather's right. Won't ignore those clouds passing overhead. Everything is something to show. The rivers inside are poisoned by lies that follow us wherever we go. I walk hand in hand with all my contradictions, still know where to take my stand. Sing a song to the rain, it falls to us. The revolution's here in our hands. The revolution's here in our hands. The revolution's here in our hands.
Thank you. So yeah, like we said, the revolution's here in our hands. We still got a lot of work to do. So that's also kind of a sentiment on that one. Is there's always more work to be done. So keep it up. Nate, I'm gonna take it away with this one.
All right. So this one's called. What are we calling this one?
Waking up, I think.
Waking Up.
Yeah, there you go.
So I got to retune this guitar between every song. It seems like,
I'll join you.
but it's I play it because I like the sound of it and I like the way it feels, and it's been in our band for a long time. It's actually Max's uncle's guitar, and he told me a story about it, but I don't know if it's true. I don't know if he was just messing with me or what, but I like to believe it. And it's that he was giving mandolin lessons years ago to some kid back in the 80s that lived down the street. And the kid stole his mandolin, I guess, he claims. So he broke into the kid's house and to take his mandolin back. But he couldn't find it. All he could find was this crappy guitar. So he took that and modeled it after Neil Young's guitar, Old Black. And now he passed it on to us years ago. I mean, it's still his, but we call it Uncle Neil.
Thanks, Al, by the way. Out there.
to catch me. And I would try to say, if I knew how to breathe. But you woke me up, but I'm already gone. And it might be late, but my shadow lingers on. So take my head and bury it in sound. 'Cause waking up only brings me down. Now I'm all alone and I'm years from home, but tenderness is calling. Got nothing to expect in a pack of cigarettes, and I'll be headed in your direction. And I would try to say, if I knew how to breathe. 'Cause you woke me up, but I'm already gone. And it might be late, but my shadow lingers on. So take my head, bury it in sound. 'Cause waking up only brings me down. Think I'll pack it up, all my money spent, and the road burned a hole in the best of Merle cassette. And I didn't think I had that much to lose. And now I don't understand what I thought I knew. And I would try to say, if I knew how to breathe. 'Cause you woke me up, but I'm already gone. And it might be late, but my shadow lingers on. So take my head, bury it in sound. 'Cause waking up only brings me down. Yeah, waking up only brings me down. Yeah, waking up only brings me down. Yeah, waking up only brings me down.
Big Dudee Roo here for Hopcat Presents Local Spins Live at River City Studios. I have a story behind that song, as a matter of fact. I had these guys on my radio show in a building in downtown Grand Rapids not long ago. And they got done with the radio show, did their performance, did their interview, and then we were going downstairs in the elevator, and there's a bank lobby right there. And they said, well, what the heck? We got our instruments. They just marched into the lobby of the bank and convinced the bank tellers and the manager there that let's play it. And they sat down and played that song, an acoustic version of that song in the lobby of the bank. And why did you do it? Just because you wanted to make somebody happy, right?
Indeed, yeah. I think they enjoyed it, right, Dan? was Dane's idea.
I've got the video at Local Spins to prove it, as a matter of fact. So I'm going to open this up for questions now for the audience. So if there's something you always wanted to ask Big Dudee Roo and these crazy dudes in front of you, now's your opportunity. Anything about this band that you want to know? Who's got a question for him?
Hey guys. So I've heard a rumor about what your name, where it comes from, but where exactly did you get the name for your band?
There's been a lot of stories about this one. I know Nate's got a few.
The one that I've heard the most about where it comes from is there's this taxi cab service, and it's called Big Dudee Roo. On my home planet, Crouton, somewhere in the vicinity of Vega. I was separated at birth, so it's a little, but it's the one thing that I do remember, that taxi cab service. So I remembered that and put the band's name on it, and that's where it all started.
That's one story. There's got to be more than that behind this one.
There's a few out there. I mean, the only other one probably worth noting, I've heard sort of a tale that it's an alternate name for sort of the Keweenaw Peninsula's version of the Yeti, Sasquatch, Bigfoot, whatever you want to call it. I know that's Dan Rickabus's favorite version. He's a fan of Bigfoot, but so that's another possibility as well.
And
Yeah.
the legend continues. All right, someone else. Who has another question? Here we go.
You guys can answer this as a group or individually if you want. I was just wondering, what has been your proudest moment as a member of Big Dudee Roo?
Individual question, huh?
Yeah. In the round.
Go ahead, man.
Me?
Yeah.
There's a couple moments that stick out big time for us, but this was back at Dune Grass Festival. Long time ago. I lost my Mr. Burger hat that weekend. But we were playing a closing set at the same time as Martin Sexton. Is that who was on the other stage? And we were playing a Wilco cover, I remember. And halfway through the Wilco cover, I'm the Man Who Loves You, I'm down here messing with my pedals, and I kind of leap up from my pedals only to hit Seth Bernard. I had no idea who was on the stage, but I leaped up and I ran into him, and apparently he had come up to play saxophone with us on that song, and I hadn't even know he did play saxophone. Yeah, we had an amazing audience that night, and just a great energy was happening, and when we all hit the last note, the lights went out, and it was like a deafening crowd roar, and that I'll never forget that. I think about that all the time. So that was probably my proudest moment.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, and someone told me later that Martin Sexton actually stopped for a minute.
Yeah.
Because the crowd was so loud coming from the second stage tent. So that was
Pretty cool.
that was that was pretty good. Nate, you want to go?
Sure.
All right.
I guess my proudest moment, there's a couple, but of the same type of thing. But when I first brought one of my songs to the band and they put it together and turned it into something I never thought it could be. And I was like, wow, I'm really proud of us for doing this and proud of these guys. So, but it just kind of blew me away. I was like, damn near brought a tear to my eye. So.
How long have I been with you guys? Since March, maybe?
Yeah, like 8 months.
Okay, yeah. So I feel like in the short time that I have been with the group, we've gotten to do some really cool things. Proudest moment would be definitely the harvest gathering. We got the 11:30 slot in the barn, and we had a lot of, I feel, weight on our shoulders. We had talked about it prior to the summer, and we had talked about going in and just working hard at all these festivals and kind of like being one of the bands that sticks out, whether it be because of our live show or how tight we've gotten or just our hard work, I guess. And we did all those things, and I feel like that helped lend itself to us getting that pretty coveted spot from what I hear. I mean, I'm new to the scene, but 11:30 on a Saturday night in the barn.
Yeah.
And then they have a little balcony up there, and Seth's just hanging over like a madman with his family, just pumping his fist. And that was a cool moment. I mean, the barn was over capacity, and you could just feel the energy. And you know, I love it all. I love this kind of setting, and I love the one with 200 people packed in there. So that's my favorite moment.
Nice.
All right, Max, it's up to you.
I mean, I guess in just a general sense, I'm just always so proud of how far we've come. Like when me and Nate started out playing a Green Day cover at the 8th grade talent show 12 years ago, and we Brain Stew. Oh. Yeah.
All right.
We did play an original song.
We did.
Too.
It was called Bummin'. Yeah.
Did you guys play it sometime?
We should. We shouldn't actually. Definitely should not play that song. But yeah, and then from there, I mean, we kind of just started out as a bunch of friends, kind of just goofing off in my parents' basement and playing Neil Young covers and having a good time. And from there, we've become a really, you know, taking this really seriously. We put out a couple records that I'm super proud of, just artistically, musically, lyrically, everything. So yeah, just the span we've covered in 10 years is pretty amazing to me. It's cool.
Anybody else out there? I got one. All right.
Hey guys,
Hey.
long time listener, first time caller. I want to know, what's your guilty pleasure music that you listen to? You know, that people might be surprised, or it's not such a cool band to listen to, but that you really love.
I think one of mine would be the Youpers.
That's
I
a
turned
good
you
one.
on to them, though. I'm going to take credit for that one.
Nothing wrong with the Youpers.
I don't know. You got one?
My first 2 albums were, and I don't know, I think this is cool, but Sugar Ray, the album with the clock on it, I don't even know what it's called. Love every song on that. You sing the whole thing. And Third Eye Blind's first album, Semi-Charmed Life, right? Just something about, yeah. So I guess I don't feel very guilty, but a couple of gems in my brain, I guess.
Nice. I guess I'll say in that vein, going back to the 90s, I need to figure one out that I feel more guilty about, though, because this one, I don't know, Sheryl Crow's self-titled record. So good. We were just talking about that. If it makes you happy, every day is a winding road. I think a change is going to come. I mean, that's a great record. Love Sheryl Crow.
So, as a poet and as a lyricist, how do you distinguish between the two? How do you sort of differentiate between what is poetry and what is lyric? Because you've got a degree from University of Michigan that really delved into poetry big time. So the question is, how do you translate that into music?
I mean, they're definitely very different, and they kind of come from a different place. With lyric writing, you know, you've always got the emotion of the music that's informing what's coming out in the words. And the biggest distinction, I think, is just that in music, sound comes first. You know, it's got to sound good. You've got to have a good melody. If the words don't fit in with the phrase, the melodic phrase, then it's not really working. It's always a challenge to make that happen when you really have a meaning that you want to get across. In poetry, it's really meaning comes first, and sound is kind of like ornamental. Still very, you know, crucially important part of the art form. But sometimes with poetry, with writing a poem, it might be there's something I want to say that's just doesn't necessarily fit into maybe the simplicity of writing a folk song or something. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of generally it.
All right, let's wrap it up. What do you got here? You got a couple of songs for us.
Yeah, we're going to do a song from the EP Duty Free here. This is just straight up dealing with heartbreak. It's called Ghost of Love.
So I guess haunts my sleep and won't let go. And I'll sing away the fear and just let it die. Let it die and rest a while. And I'll sing my love into the sky and let it ride high and sing back the world. Will these dreams find a grave and go to seed with all we gave? I don't know how to let them go. Follow down that winding road.
Thanks, guys. All right, well, we got one more tune for you. Thank you guys all so much for being here.
This has been great. Thank you guys
Yeah.
so much.
Big thanks to John Sinkovich, Local Spins. Wow, well, how much can you say about the work that they do for the West Michigan music scene? Amazing. Thanks so much, John. Thanks to Roy Wallace here at River City Studio for putting this on as well. Amazing to be in this space. I know it's going to sound great. And thanks also to Hopcat and Rockford Brewing for supplying some food and beer tonight. We're going to do a tune here. This is actually going way back. This is the first tune on our first record. The record was called Germination, and we put it out 6 years ago this month. And this was a tune I wrote while I was living in Chicago, going to music school. And we all grew up in Wayland, small town, spent a lot of time, out in the woods, hanging out as friends in those days. And that was kind of our existence, our reality. And then I moved down to Chicago, and it's kind of a big, huge change living in the city. Just so much sensory input all the time, so many people in such close quarters. So this is sort of a tune I wrote, feeling homesick and sentimental about the state of Michigan and everything great that we have going on here. People are so nice and kind, and they care about the land, they care about the water. So I always send this one out to people working to protect Michigan's water, especially. As a huge resource that we have, and it's a beautiful place, beautiful music community. So this one's called Michigan.
Once again, everybody, Big Dudee Roo.
Thank you.
I want to thank Big Dudee Roo for being part of this. Thank all of you for being here for this special session. Thank you to Hopcat for being a supporter of this session. Thank you to Roy Wallace, River City Studios. Thank you to Brennan and Jake and part of the River City Studios video team for all of this. Please keep an eye out on localspins.com for the podcast and the video down the road. And please always remember to support your local and regional music scene. Good night, everybody.
Yeah.